Hey guys and gals and my fellow VEDS-ies, welcome back to another day of VEDS. And yeah, we're going to talk about it. Today's video is going to get a little bit spicy. This has been a topic that I've been stewing around for a very long time, and really I think the past month has just kind of been a very perfect storm to where I kind of have to address it. And that is the state of talking about fandom media on the internet. I don't know when this started to happen. Maybe it was the Ghostbusters reboot back in 2016, but ever since that point, talking about anything, whether it's Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, has just become so incredibly toxic. Toxic and at times even just straight up tribalistic, almost like it's politics. But anyway, let's just get to the main topics of this video, which are two. Two instances that happened relatively recently that have a very shared theme. Let's see if you can spot them. First, let's just talk about She-Hulk, because ever since this series was announced, it has been more or less, cursed. First, they released the trailer, and I'll even admit, the trailer for She-Hulk, the effects did not look very good. They were probably unfinished. And again, naturally, as the show released more footage and we got closer and closer to its premiere date, the whiny man-baby bitches on the internet had to find something else to poke the bear at, because the effects got better, as they would. And you kind of can already guess where this is going, because She-Hulk as a show is a very self-aware show. Jennifer Walters will regularly break the fourth wall and acknowledge the audience. In the same way, by the way, as Deadpool does. But of course, when Deadpool does it, it's really, really cool. But when She-Hulk does it, it's bad writing, it's lazy, it's insert any kind of insult you could ever imagine these people would say here. And all this kind of came to a head this past week, I believe, if I'm releasing this correctly, where they had the wedding episode. Now, just to put my opinions on the wedding episode up front, it is, in my opinion, the weakest episode of She-Hulk overall. I just didn't think the story in the episode was that good. It kind of just felt like a forced reason to have another Titania and She-Hulk fight. I didn't really get a lot of laughs out of it. It was just, again, it's the weakest episode of the series thus far, in my opinion. But the series overall, for me, has been one of my favorites of all of the MCU Disney Plus shows, so take that with a grain of salt. But no, that's not why they're mad. They're mad because you got trolled. For context, at the end of the last episode, they teased the appearance of Daredevil. But because they teased the helmet, fandom culture started speculating, very much like The Last Jedi, of what's gonna happen next week. And basically in the same exact way of Luke throwing the lightsaber off of the island, the show basically acknowledged that, yeah, we're doing a wedding episode. Yes, it's not at a great time, but then again, neither are weddings. But let me fill you in on a little secret, fellas. Okay? Come closer. Come closer. You were never watching this show for Jennifer Walters or She-Hulk. Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to your audience. You were never watching this for Jennifer Walters or She-Hulk. You were watching this because of a 5-second teaser of Daredevil in the trailer. But guess what? The show isn't called Daredevil. The show is called She-Hulk. So complaining that you're not getting your Daredevil in a show called She-Hulk that only teased Daredevil making an appearance isn't really good. And also, one other thing here, and I hate that I even have to say this, because again, to me this is obvious. If you don't like She-Hulk, you don't have to watch it. You don't have to make video after video after video for some of you saying that She-Hulk is bad. Here's my review of the episode, and here's why it's bad. You don't have to. It's a streaming show. You can watch literally anything else. But no, because the state of discussing fandom culture on the internet and fandom media is that positivity doesn't get the clicks. Positivity doesn't get the engagement. Negativity does. So you're going to lie to yourself, even if you like the show, that you hate the show, because that'll get more comments, that'll get more likes, which will get your channel bigger, which could make you more money. And look, I ain't knocking your hustle, but at least acknowledge that's your hustle. But you won't, because then you'll be revealing yourself in 4K as a liar. As a snake oil salesman who isn't really selling people what they believe, but rather what you think your audience wants to hear. But now let's move on to part 2 of this video, which you can probably already tell where I'm going with this. Let's talk about The Little Mermaid. For those of you unaware, recently at D23, Disney unveiled the first teaser trailer for the live-action Little Mermaid. And, full disclosure, it didn't do much for me. It didn't move my needle in one way or another, mostly because they barely showed anything of the movie. It was a couple of the backgrounds of Under the Water and Atlantica, and ended with a little clip from Part of Your World. But no, that's not what people were mad about. What people were mad about is they changed the race of a fictional character, of a fictional creature that doesn't exist in this real world. Oh, and guess what? Again, come closer. Who cares? Like, can we all just get off of our go woke, go broke high roads for a second, whether or not if you even believe what you're saying, and just come back to reality for a second, and just use the 2 brain cells I'm sure you have and rub them together to say, maybe Disney just liked the girl's voice. 'Cause guess what? The girl can sing. And don't get me started on your bullshit whataboutisms of like, well, what if they casted a white person as Mulan? Guess what? Mulan's story specifically takes her race into account.
My name is Mulan. I did it to save my father.
High treason!
I didn't mean for it to go this far.
Ultimate dishonor!
Well, what if they cast a white person as Tiana? Okay, same rules apply. Tiana's race in The Princess and the Frog was a main plot point of her getting her restaurant.
Which is why a little woman of your background would have had her hands full trying to run a big business like that.
I'm pretty sure when it comes to Ariel, her being white had nothing to do with her story. Ursula didn't take her race, she took her voice. Oh, and I guess since I mentioned it, please don't suck at Ursula, Melissa McCarthy. So no, Ariel being black in this reboot changes nothing about the story. It is not integral to her character, to the plot, to nothing that she remains white. So how about you just either accept that or acknowledge that you are a racist piece of shit. And also, one more thing, because I have to knock this guy down a couple of pegs. If you, for a second, when criticizing this trailer, use this as your argument.
This is absolute garbage. It is a very low effort.
Yes, hi, hello, Editing James here. It's fucking laughable that you're complaining about this movie being low effort when this is what your video looks like.
It is a very low effort cash grab by Disney.
Did you also know that when it rains, people get wet?
They're just taking an old story and they're making it live action, and I'm putting little air quotes up on that one.
Wow. Now see, I like how you did that. It was very good, very clever. Almost like a joke, you know, only it wasn't funny.
Most of everything is just going to be green screen, right? Like if you look at around her, and if you look through this trailer, absolutely everything here is just, it's just CGI. Like there's nothing that is real here.
Oh, I'm sorry. You mean to tell me that Disney didn't send filmmakers out into the Atlantic Ocean to somehow find a mermaid to shoot? You mean to tell me that mermaids don't exist? And all of this kind of culminates in my final thoughts on both of these things. They're non-issues. People making them issues don't actually believe what they're saying. They're doing it because they want money. They're basically Alex Jones. They don't believe what they're saying, but they'll tell you what they think you want to hear so that you buy whatever they want to whore out, whether it's male supplements or coffee. And unfortunately, until people wake up and realize that they are being had by people who can't even acknowledge when they've been had by the media that they criticize, things are not going to get better. Which is why, on here, I really have been striving a lot more recently to focus on the positive, to try to be a light in the darkness. And with that, guys, gals, and my fellow VEDS-ies, I will see you tomorrow.